never believed in cursed objects. I used to think horror movies exaggerated everything, haunted dolls, possessed mirrors, tapes that could kill. But that was before I found the tape. Before I watched it. It started one humid night in July. I worked at a small pawn shop just outside Baton Rouge. The kind of place that collected forgotten things, old cameras, cracked TVs, and relics that whispered memories of the dead. My boss, Harold, had bought a box of VHS tapes from an estate sale that day. Most were blank or unmarked, except one. It had no label, no markings, nothing. Just a strip of faded masking tape across the spine with the word, "Play," written in red ink. I remember holding it, the texture of the plastic oddly warm against my fingers. Harold shrugged when I asked where it came from. "Some storage unit near Jackson," he said. "Probably junk. If it works, we can sell it for a few bucks." I should have left it alone. But curiosity. It's the oldest curse of them all. That night, after closing, I took the tape home. My VCR hadn't worked in years, so I borrowed one from the shop. I made popcorn, dimmed the lights, and pressed play. The static hissed like breathing. The screen flickered, and an old, dimly lit room appeared. The walls were yellowed with age, and the camera sat perfectly still on a tripod, aimed at a wooden chair in the center. For a full minute, nothing moved. Then a figure stepped into frame, tall, wearing a mask made of burlap. They stood behind the chair, their head tilting slightly toward the camera. Then the whispering began. It wasn't in English. The words crawled through the static, low and guttural, like someone speaking from underwater. The masked figure circled the chair, dragging a rope along the floor. Every few seconds, the tape skipped, the sound warping into screams. I felt my stomach twist, but I couldn't look away. The figure stopped, faced the camera, and slowly pointed at me. Then the screen went black. I sat frozen. The clock on the wall ticked softly, but something was off. The air felt heavy, pressing down on me. Then the faintest sound, static again. I looked back at the screen. It was still black, but the whispering returned, softer now, almost intimate. I unplugged the VCR. The sound didn't stop. The whispers came from inside the television. That was the first night. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I tried returning the tape to the pawn shop, but when I opened my bag, it wasn't there. The VCR was gone too. Harold said he never saw me take it. He looked confused, like the box of tapes had never existed. But I know it did. I still had the smell of burnt plastic on my hands. By the second night, things escalated. My phone kept ringing at exactly 3:07 a.m. The first time, it was silence. The second, faint static. The third, a voice. "Finish it." That's all it said. The next morning, my apartment door was open. I lived alone. On the coffee table sat the tape, its label slightly torn. The word "play" now smeared with something dark. I threw it in the trash. Drove 10 miles away. Dumped it behind a gas station dumpster. But when I got home, it was on my bed. I tried recording it, thought maybe I could capture proof, upload it, show someone. But every time I aimed my phone camera at the tape, the screen would glitch and freeze. Once, I caught a reflection. My face distorted, eyes black like ink. That's when I realized the tape didn't just play images. It recorded souls. The next few days blurred together. Lights flickered, whispers echoed in mirrors, and I started losing time. I'd wake up standing in strange places. Once in my bathtub, fully clothed, tape clutched in my hand. Another time in my hallway, whispering the same words I'd heard that night. The final straw came a week later. I came home to find my TV on, the tape spinning on its own. The static filled the room, louder this time, like a storm inside my head. And through it, the same masked figure appeared again. Only this time, the camera angle was different. It wasn't pointing at a chair anymore. It was pointing at me. The background was my living room, my couch, my broken lamp, even the popcorn bowl still sitting where I left it that first night. I stumbled backward, but the figure on the screen moved closer, its mask twitching as if it were laughing. Then the power went out. I don't know how long I stood there. When the lights came back on, the TV was off. The tape was gone. But something had changed. Every reflective surface in my apartment, mirrors, windows, even the glass on picture frames, showed the same image. That chair. Empty. Waiting. And deep in the background, the sound of a faint, looping whisper. Finish it. That's when I realized the truth. Watching the tape wasn't the curse. Owning it was. And somehow it owned me now. That was 2 days ago. Tonight, the whispers are louder, almost pleading. The clock reads 3:07 again. My phone is ringing. It's time to finish it. It's been 3 nights since I last saw the tape. Or maybe it's been longer. Time doesn't make sense anymore. The clocks don't tick, they whisper. The walls hum with static. Even my reflection looks delayed. Like my body's here, but my soul's still buffering somewhere inside the dark. I tried to run, of course. Drove out of Baton Rouge with nothing but my wallet and an old map. My hands shook the entire drive. I don't remember how I ended up at the old cabin near the river. It was abandoned, the kind of place no one would check. I thought if I could burn the tape, maybe it would end. But the tape was already there. It sat on the dusty table, right in the center, as if it had been waiting. The label was completely gone this time. No more play, just a deep scratch across the plastic like fingernails. I didn't touch it at first. I paced around the room, searching for logic. Maybe someone was following me, messing with me. Maybe it was all an elaborate prank. But the air, it felt heavy, thick with energy. The smell of burnt metal filled my nose, like something old and angry had been awakened. The whispers started again. Soft, circular, like a prayer spoken backward. Then I realized something chilling. The voice wasn't coming from the tape. It was coming from inside the VCR. The old television in the corner turned on by itself, flickering between static and shadow. I hadn't even plugged it in. I should have run, but instead, I found myself kneeling in front of it, my fingers trembling as I slid the tape inside. The static hissed and then the image appeared. The same room as before, the chair, the dim yellow light, the burlap-masked figure. But now there were more figures. 4 of them standing around the chair, swaying like puppets without strings. Each one turned toward the camera, heads tilted, masks twitching. Then, one by one, they removed their masks. Their faces were burned, mouths stretched too wide, eyes gone, only hollow black sockets. But I recognized them. They were the people from the pawn shop. Harold, Lisa, the cashier, even the delivery guy, all dead. The whispering grew louder, layered, frantic. The figures pointed toward the camera, and the image glitched violently. When it stabilized, I wasn't looking at them anymore. I was looking at myself. The screen showed me, kneeling in front of the TV, eyes empty, face pale. Behind me stood the masked figure, its hand on my shoulder. My heart froze. I turned around. Nothing was there. Then the screen went black, and a new image flashed. Grainy words written across the static. Finish the recording. Before I could react, the VCR ejected the tape. But it wasn't the same anymore. It was blank. A fresh, unused tape. And then I understood. The curse doesn't just infect those who watch it. It uses them. It records over their lives, layer by layer, turning them into part of the next story. Every time someone watches it, it rewrites itself, changing the footage to match the viewer's reality. That's how it spreads. The whispers turned to screams. The cabin lights burst, plunging everything into flickering shadows. I stumbled backward, glass cutting into my hands. The tape was still there on the floor, spinning, alive. Then came the knock. Slow, deliberate, 3 times. I froze. No one should have known I was here. The knocks came again, closer now, like they'd moved from the door to the wall, then to the floorboards beneath me. I dropped the tape and ran to the car, heart hammering so hard I thought it might explode. But when I looked out the window, every car in the dirt lot was gone. Mine included. Only one thing sat in the driveway, the chair. That same wooden chair from the tape. It was wet, covered in black ash, and facing the cabin door. And on it sat a single object. My phone. It was playing a video. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The screen showed the cabin from above, grainy and distorted, as if being filmed by a security camera. And there I was, standing in the doorway watching myself watch the video. Then the camera zoomed in slowly, the perspective narrowing until it focused directly on my eyes. The video glitched and my phone fell from my hand. The ground started to vibrate. The static turned into a roar, and the TV inside the cabin turned back on by itself. On the screen was a single frame, a dark room filled with thousands of stacked tapes, each one labeled with a name. The last name written in red was mine. That's when the door creaked open behind me. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. The air shifted, cold and sour. I could feel the burlap brushing against my neck. The voice whispered the same words that started it all. Play it. I closed my eyes, and for a second, everything stopped. No whispers, no static, just silence. I thought maybe it was over. But then, faintly, from somewhere deep inside the dark, came the sound of a tape spinning. And then my voice on the recording. I was screaming. The next morning, local authorities found the cabin empty. No sign of forced entry, no trace of anyone. But in the center of the floor, a single VHS tape was discovered, charred around the edges, still warm to the touch. On the spine, written in faded red ink, were two words: "Play me." The officers who found it logged it as evidence. But when they tried reviewing it at the station, the tape didn't show any footage, just static. Until one of them leaned closer to the screen and saw himself staring back. Sometimes evil doesn't need a ritual. It just needs an audience. They say the cursed tape is still out there. Passed between collectors, burned, buried, uploaded, deleted, and found again. And every time someone presses play, the story rewrites itself. Somewhere, a new name is written on the tape. Maybe yours. If you've made it this far, maybe the curse has already started. But don't panic. There's still a way out. Keep the light on, stay off the dark web tonight. And whatever you do, don't hit play again. This is the Cursed Tape, and I'll see you in the next story. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who loves horror as much as you do. Every share keeps the story alive, and every subscriber helps uncover the next haunting. Turn on your notifications, because the next legend might be closer than you think. Stay curious, stay scared, and I'll see you on the other side.